Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. My guest this week, Katie Mara. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, pleasure to have you. Oh, where are you?
Man down.
We're gonna have to start gluing these down, I think, because that might not. Jake might not. He's having a rough day here. That's all right. We're not gonna worry about it.
Okay.
Let's get to know you just a little bit. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I'm from Billerica, Mass. I grew up there my whole life. The only time I've been away is when I was at college at Fitchburg, and then went right back to Billerica. But now I live in Chelmsford, so I've been there.
Nice.
I just moved back there recently, actually, like a couple months ago. I was there for 4 years, went back to Billerica again. Now I'm back in Chelmsford. So
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Not too far.
Our town rival, our high school rival.
Oh,
so
okay.
I hear a lot from the girls.
Now, I've known a lot of people that have gone to Fitchburg, but I don't know much about it. How was going to school there?
I loved it. I made a lot of really great friends. It's a smaller school, so it's more like, some would say it's more like high school, but you get to know everybody, and everybody kind of, for me, it was great for sports because I played softball there.
Oh, nice.
And I just had a really close-knit group of friends that I'm still friends with a lot of them now, so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I think, because I went to Plymouth State, and I think that's probably like a similar vibe.
Yeah, it's a commuting school for sure.
Okay.
So it's a lot less people that live there than commute, but I lived there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, totally get that.
Yeah.
Now, what are 3 things that everybody should know about you?
Well, I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for 14 years. I teach kids with autism and special ed at Billerica High. I've been coaching for 14 years. I started coaching JV basketball at a middle school and college. And then from there, it just kind of stuck. And I'm an aunt. I live alone with my dog. That's about my life. I coach and teach, and that's really, I come home to my dog. It's nice.
Nice. Now, I've seen a lot of pictures of your dog on Facebook. What's their name?
Jax.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I did know that.
He's a little rescue dog from Puerto Rico, so
Oh, wow.
he's a little skittish, but he's a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dogs are. That's something I think I'm missing in my life.
I
His
couldn't
dog.
have gotten through the pandemic without him living alone.
Yeah.
It's like, thank God I had him to keep me company, because being alone, I was like going crazy.
Oh, I could imagine.
Yeah.
Now, you feel with all that going, like, do you feel like you're constantly on the go with everything, or?
Yeah, I feel like people ask me that all the time. They're like, you're coaching year round. You're like going from this place to that place. School, I'm racing out to get to the next thing. And then like by the time I get home, I have to race home to get to my dog. Like it's just like a constant go, go, go. Winter's really the only time I have in the summer, but I'm still coaching during that time too. So
Yeah.
it's just, I'm always at the high school. I feel like it's my home away from home.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
Now, I just asked, do you do summer school too, or do you take that off?
I'm the strength and conditioning coach at the high school in the summer.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
There's a few of us that coach at the high school that we run the program. There's about 200 kids that sign up for it at the high school, and we just have them doing that all summer. So it's a really great program. The kids, we've had so many successful teams out of it, so it's definitely been working for the last few years anyways. We got a brand new high school, brand new gym. So
nice.
It's like state-of-the-art equipment. People are like, that's your high school gym? That's why I don't work out anywhere but work now. It's really nice. We're lucky to have it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, sticking with the theme of the show, this is the money question we ask everybody. And it's a loaded question. We get a lot of different answers on it. But what does it mean to you to be an American?
I mean, freedom, independence, especially like when you see on TV all these women and children that don't get what we do over in America in all these other countries. Like recently, those girls that were wearing the wraps or the head wraps, and they took them off and they were being like shunned for it in their countries and getting in trouble. You don't have that stuff that you have to worry about over here. We have so much more freedom. I mean, lately I think it's been tough, but I've kind of believed in all of that since 9/11. That was like a huge turning point for me when I was in high school. I've just always been like America, America, America ever since. So, yeah, I think those things are huge.
Yeah, and I think you give a good example. You know, did you watch any of the World Cup over the winter there?
Yeah.
You know, we spend a lot of we get really like bent out of shape. Everybody got, or not everybody. I didn't care.
Yeah.
The whole Colin Kaepernick, kneeling for the
Yeah.
flag, but then you see these Iranian players. They wanted to protest their government, and they didn't. I guess it's a thing for them to sing the national anthem when it's up, and they didn't, and they had their families threatened, and not by It's one thing to have your family threatened by someone off the street or someone on the internet. Your government threatening your family is kind of a scary thing.
It's really scary. Yeah, you see all those different things. I was just watching a movie on Netflix with the girls that like were trying to get into the Olympics from. It was for swimming. I forget what country exactly they were from, but they ended up like having to swim across a whole ocean to get to just participate in the sport because their country was under attack all the time. And it was based on a true story. I wish I could remember the name of it. It was on Netflix, but it was a really like moving story. So I don't know. I just think so many other countries face so many more problems or adversities than we do here. So
yeah, for sure. And we say it a lot. It's not just the United States. There's other countries that have a lot of similar rights. But I mean, there are places it's like, you don't have the right to just even think the way you want.
Yeah, dress the way you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we take it for granted, for sure.
Just kind of, I was going to ask this one question, and I don't know if you know anything about it, because I've just seen a lot of stuff on Facebook and the internet. Just being a coach of young women, did you see any, like, they just had the highest rated NCAA women's basketball game of all time. Which is awesome in itself, but there's been like this other story of all this, I guess they were doing like the John Cena, "You Can't See Me" thing.
Oh yeah.
And that turned into a whole thing. Have you seen anything on that?
I haven't seen it on on the court with my girls or anything. I saw the videos of that and then how she like chased after the girl being like this to her finger, like she got the ring. I think that's kind of not very sportsmanship. It's not really being a role model for other kids to look up to and females. But I mean, in high school, you don't really see it so much.
Yeah.
So I can't say, I feel like it's friendly competition that they might do that, but not like an in-your-face type of situation, the way I saw it anyways.
Yeah, I was trying to, I guess they're college, but like, it got ratings. Like, I'm not saying like they should be, but like, I don't know. Sometimes as a wrestling fan, sometimes we like that type of stuff. I'm not against, like, I'm not for bad sportsmanship, but I'm like, hey, people were watching.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother. But congratulations to LSU on that.
Yeah, that was great.
And obviously, like I said, they made history there. So.
Well, the women's softball last year, it's the highest they've ever had too for college sports.
Oh, really?
It's the most it's ever been watched. It was like higher than one of the men's. I forget what it was, but it was like really high up there for the ratings, and I think that sport's just coming to light big time for women's college softball, women's softball in general for fast pitch. It's such a quick game.
Yeah.
They're like an hour and 15 minutes, so I think it's like something to keep people interested in since it moves so quickly.
I 100% agree. Yeah. Like, I mean, they're trying to make baseball faster. But women's softball is a lot of fun to watch. I'm hoping my niece Addie gets into it. Right now, she's doing like a little bit of hockey. She's into soccer. But I hope she does like softball.
Yeah.
Now that kind of leads into this. Now you're a teacher, you're a coach. What made you decide that that's what you want? That was the path you wanted to go?
I actually, when I was in high school, I wrote in my high school like English journal to my teacher that I wanted to teach and coach someday. I think I knew I wanted something to do with sports and coaching and continuing on. I'll be totally honest, I thought being an elementary ed school teacher would be like the easiest thing ever with like the content that they learn. It's not. I've did my student teaching doing that stuff. That's a lot of kids to like have under and keep them under control and everything. But so I kind of went that way, and then special ed fell into my lap. And my teacher actually wrote back to me in that journal, maybe you'll come here and take my job someday.
Oh, wow.
And like, I look forward to seeing you back here in Billerica. And it's like, I always wanted to come back, and I enjoyed my like life growing up in Billerica so much and all the sports and activities. I just built a really good support system there, and so I don't know, it's just kind of something that always stuck with me. Did it in college. I almost changed my major to exercise and sports science because that's like the stuff I really enjoy. My parents wouldn't let me, but it ended up being okay. So
nice. Yeah, I started off in phys ed when I got to college, and I couldn't get past. This is like, I think I would have buckled down better as an adult, but I had a physiology and anatomy, and I just said, you know what, I'm going for social science. Go for social studies teaching.
I just couldn't pass the phys ed MTEL because you have to pass that and
Oh,
math
God.
to even get looked at.
Yeah, the MTELs, the praxis, and like those tests
Yeah.
they're not easy.
Nope.
Now, elementary school. So did your student teaching in elementary school?
I did my student teaching when I was in college there, and then I got out of college and I ended up applying for a substitute position, and they asked me if I would come in and apply for a job coach position with their life skills kids, so kids just like with different disabilities. And I did that, and I kind of just like fell into that realm of special ed. And then I went to a private school for like 7 years, and that was strictly kids with autism. And I fell in love with that, but I needed to go to like a public school to make the money.
Okay, all right.
So I ended up at Billerica in like the social emotional piece of it with some kids with autism. That was a lot. Now I'm back with the autistic kids, but at the high school level. So I've kind of gone all the way through.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because I was even going to say, like, elementary school, the one thing is not only that they're so much younger, you can't get rid of them. Like, they're there for the whole day.
Yeah.
Like, you might have a bad class and then they filter out.
I got my kids at high school for 5 years now, though, because they start in 8th grade.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, I got you guys for 5 whole years.
Yeah.
I hope you're fun.
Yeah. Now, how did I got to ask this then? So, how does the coaching come about? Like, because you said you started with basketball, and now you're doing volleyball and softball. Like, what's like the evolution of that?
So I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. Basketball was my favorite sport my whole life growing up. I always was like, I'll be the first girl in the NBA, da-da-da. Clearly they made the WNBA, so I was really upset about that. But no, I knew I wanted to coach, and my friend actually, her dad worked at a school in Fitchburg and said, we're looking for a JV basketball coach. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I went and I did that, and eventually I just started driving back to Billerica to help out with the volleyball and like just to help assistant coach here and there voluntarily. And then once I moved home my senior year, I just kind of fell back into it. I knew I was going to work in like the schools and everything. So volleyball I started with, and then softball I actually did basketball, freshman basketball at Billerica High that year too.
Okay.
And then I did the freshman softball team. I connected with the woman that I coached with, that I played for, who I now actually coach with still.
Oh, okay.
I've been her assistant on varsity since 2012.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Been around for a while.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the highlights that you've had? I've seen some pictures. Looks like you might have won a state championship or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
This close.
Okay.
So since I've been coaching on the varsity softball, we've been to the Final Four 3 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
2017, 2021, and then last year in 2022. So Final Four, we were the North State champions in 2021, but they got rid of the way they do that, North versus South. Now it's just everybody statewide is just like competing by power rankings. It's still new. We're all still kind of getting used to it. I don't know if I like it or not yet, to be honest. But and then last year we went to the Final Four again for the 2nd year in a row, and we lost in the Final Four again. So we're hoping this is the year. We have 11 returning seniors.
Okay.
So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're still trying to find the missing pieces for a couple positions that we had graduate last year, but we're off to a good, hopefully we're figuring it out. We're getting there. We're already ahead of where we used to be a few years ago at this point, so it's really nice to see how it's coming together. We already had to bring a JV girl up, and she's filled in to be our second baseman right away, so with an injury so soon in the season. So that's softball. Volleyball, we also have been pretty successful. We went to the Super 8 last year, Sweet 16 this year. My JV team went 20-0 this year.
Oh, wow.
We outscored our opponents by over 450 points. Yeah, so we have a really solid program with that too. A lot of seniors graduating now.
Now, how's it work in Massachusetts? Are you, do you have to, I guess you have to qualify, but you said there's like different
The power rankings?
Yeah, like the power rankings is different. Like, because when I was in high school, it's now changed. Like D1, D2, D3 in New Hampshire. Or it was like Class L.
We still have D1, D2, D3.
Okay.
But it's your power ranking, so it's like how big your school is. So the bigger schools are D1, we're D2. Still not quite sure. I think we missed it by like 20 students to be D1, which we were D1 2 years ago, and then last year we were D2. But so if we play someone that's ranked lower than us, we don't get as many points in our power rankings. But even if we beat them by a ton, they get points because they were lower for playing a higher team.
Okay.
So it's like weird. It's all numbers. So we just kind of wait for them to put it out there. But last year we went into the seeding as number 1 in the state. So anyone that played us automatically got like a higher ranking. But you have to have at least 10 wins on your schedule for even if like you want to get considered, or like a 500 record, something like that. Because they were finding like teams that were 18-0, but they played in a really like not so great league.
Mm-hmm.
So their power rankings now like way lower, so they can be 18-0, but they're still going to be in like the bottom of the seedings. I think it was just kind of to balance everything out in that sense.
Okay. So like kind of like a strength of schedule type of thing?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Now, do you do like a lot of, like, are you recruiting? Are you going like to see like the middle school kids or like even different levels, or?
So for volleyball, I did the youth volleyball program for the rec department for about 8 years while I was coaching. So I did that in the winter. And I was definitely like trying to do that back then, but it became to be too much to kind of do all of that year round. So
I know, I was going to say, it sounds like your schedule.
It was like, and those were on Sundays, and I'm like, I just want to sit and watch football. It's my only day off.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave that up about 3 years ago. And honestly, there's so many girls now going into, you're seeing less and less want to do the rec stuff. They all want to do travel or like the AAU, which is now why we're losing a lot of kids to even the high school team, because we only had 32 girls come out for softball this year. Usually we have about 50. They want to stick with their like summer team and just play with all their friends in the summer that they have fun with in their grade, and then just focus on one sport. Most of them are volleyball. So I'm like, I can't even be mad, but like, I want you guys to be a multi-sport athlete. Like that's what coaches want to see. You being diverse, and like even college coaches want to see that. I'm like, even the best athletes, Michael Jordan, like Bo Jackson, all those guys, they're multi-sport athletes. You know what I mean? They're the greats.
I was going to ask that, you being a high school coach, like, I mean, I always thought, I coached wrestling years ago at like a middle school level, but I would always tell the kids, was like, try all the different sports.
Yeah.
You're not going to be in this time of your life again.
Right.
But is it like, are we finding, and I felt like, even as like, when I was coaching wrestling, there'd be certain crop there that's like, we're just going to wrestle all year round. And I was like, try other stuff. Like, how do you feel about that? Is that a growing thing? Like, I feel like a lot of parents think their kids are going to make the pros if they do that.
That's the problem. And the kids think that they're going to be better. And some of them, they're not like the best at that sport. And I can see why they want it. That might be their better sport, but it's not like they're going to, some of them might not even make the varsity team. We've had kids come out 3 times and not make it. But I don't think that they should put all their eggs in one basket like that. And it's not good for the body. Like, focusing on one sport, that's not good for your muscle growth and all that. And they're still growing. So, like, that's something you want to be able to not overuse everything, too. So I think that parents don't look at it like that. They're spending all this money on kids just focusing on this one sport. And then if they don't make it, the parents are all upset because of it. It just becomes like this, like, it's all over, too. It's every sport now.
I think it's hurting the sports in general, because you have that, I do feel, and I could be...
More injuries. Way more injuries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, in my opinion, people that make the pros or D1 level athletes, there's a lot of that they worked hard for, but there's also, and this is just my opinion, there's just God-given ability.
Totally agree.
That some people are just made, like, just have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I totally agree. And a lot of kids don't always have the work ethic that they do too, and they think they do, but if you really like look and see what all these other athletes are doing, they're spending hours in the gym to like better themselves hand-eye coordination, then they go to strength and conditioning, and then they're doing this other thing. Like, they are all working like so hard, and maybe these kids are working hard, but like you said, they just don't have that extra, you know?
Yeah, and it's not like I always thought that was funny, even as a kid, like people thinking they're like, the odds of it are just so, that's why you should like enjoy your time.
Yeah, you're lucky if you played
Yeah,
D3.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome stuff. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have as a coach? I mean, it sounds like we've kind of touched a little bit on that, but
I would say like the sports and like I just think I would say a lot of the social media is starting to be a problem a lot, because like kids are so focused on like more about the pictures and if they're posting this, and then kids are coming out and being like, well, they said this on Snapchat, and then you have the bullying, and it's just causing like this domino effect, and it's kind of sad to see how it affects the teams and everything like that. But that's like one whole thing, and I think that that's kind of taken away from the sports too. But I would say the other difficult part is seeing those kids that work so hard every day to get that like starting spot or to get on the team, and then like having to turn around and say, sorry, you're just not there yet. And like they're great kids, they just don't have that ability yet, or they just don't have that extra that the person that's starting over them is. And you see them working, but it's like, it's varsity, we have to put out the best kids, we got to win. I think that's like a hard concept for them to understand too.
yeah, absolutely. And that is, that it's a fact of life. Like, you're not always going to be the best. You're not always going to be.
Not everyone gets a trophy.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's the way to do it, and yeah, that's got to be tough. And
Parents don't see it every day either, and they're like, why is my kid not playing?
Yep.
We're like, but you're not at practice every day. You don't see the other kids. Like, I don't know. Some kids practice terribly, and they're wicked gamers. And we know that they are, and it's like, all right, we know that they're not doing that great, but they make the plays in the games. We got to stick with them. Like, we got to stay with the hot hand right now. It's something like different things like that, which I think is hard for other girls to see,
Yeah.
I think that's probably in any sport, male or female. So.
No, that's really tough. Now, do you have like a full coaching staff? Like, I know you said that you're part of one of them, but like, but you make the main decisions generally.
So I'm the assistant varsity coach.
Okay.
And she kind of gives us, there's 4 of us for softball that are the varsity coach. We have a pitching coach, an outfield coach.
Oh, wow. So, yeah.
I'm like infield.
Yeah.
And then the head coach she focuses on like pretty much all the nitty gritty things and everything else. But she's been coaching this is her 29th year, I think.
Oh, wow.
So she was my high school coach. Our pitching coaches, who's older than me, is coach in high school. So she's kind of been like a mentor to all of us too. And now it's just like friends and family type of thing.
Yeah.
We're really close. Our whole staff is, even like Amy Wenrick's the JV coach.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We just have a really great staff. We have about 8 coaches on staff for softball. For volleyball, there's 3 of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's just 1 for each, but the JV, me and the other JV B coach, we're the assistant varsity for volleyball. So we kind of have like the 2 roles doing that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Is it easier working that way with like a group of coaches, or?
For softball, I think it's much easier because there's so many components to softball. I don't know anything about pitching in softball.
Yeah.
So like having a pitching coach is huge. Being able to separate and have the outfielders work on what they need to. I focus on the infielders. The other coach will focus on the catchers sometimes, or she'll take half the infield, I'll take the other half. We swap. It's just nice to have like all the different minds. We always all talk and kind of decide together. So it's come a long way. She keeps asking me to take over. But
oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever want that, or?
It's a huge commitment. I mean, I'm already committed to it, so.
Yeah.
But I feel like it makes me nervous a little bit. I don't know.
No, I can imagine.
I like kind of the assistant role, but I don't know. I guess I got to grow up someday.
Hey, I think you'd be great at it. So, what are the most? Now we kind of talked about what are the most rewarding parts of coaching, teaching, all that in general.
I would say seeing like going from day one of the season and then watching them and how much they improve throughout the season, that's huge, especially like kids that are really struggling and then watching them like work hard and get better. But at the end of the seasons, or like when girls go to graduate, they'll write me like a card or a letter at work and like leave me something or a photo album. They'll be like, they thank me for all like I've ever done for them and how much of a effect I've had on their life, and like being able to like know that I've even made some kind of impact on their lives, not just as a coach but as a person. That's meant like the world to me. That's the stuff that I feel like if I can make a difference in one person's life, that is everything. Winning's great, obviously. Who doesn't want to win? But in reality, we're there to teach them parts of life like discipline, respect, all that stuff, you know? I just think that it's a huge role to have, especially being a teacher and a coach. You kind of get it in both ways. I have the girls come by my classroom just to check in if they need it. So it's kind of nice to have the double role there.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. I think I think you nailed it. That's got to be the most rewarding part. I haven't coached in like 8 years, and I definitely miss it. I miss working in the school. So, yeah, it's really rewarding stuff.
Yeah, the relationships are huge for sure.
Now I want to talk about this a little bit because you're also, like myself, a slow pitch softball player.
Yeah.
What an interesting community that is,
yeah.
to say the least. How did you start playing slow pitch?
I've actually been playing it since right out of high school. I was playing in women's softball league in the North End in Boston for a little bit. And then I was playing in local teams in Billerica. And then I ended up at the Jokers League in Drake-It and Harry Allen. That was back probably in my mid-20s. And then I didn't play for like 5-6 years. And Amy Wenrick asked me if I wanted to fill in for her team in that Drake-It Jokers League because we teach together. And I was like, sure, why not? And then I was like excited to play again, and I asked Danny Pope and Chris Pope. I went to high school with Danny, so he was one of my good friends in high school and after that. And he's like, yeah, you come play with us on the Friday Merrimack league. And that's kind of how I started to get into this community of softball.
Yeah.
Starting to realize how big the community is. I'm like, wait, there's tournaments too? So I just asked to join one, not knowing how serious it was.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like, Chris Pope asked me, he's like, come play with us in the Freedom Tournament in Rhode Island. I get out there and I see these, like, I go to like set up to play defense and it's just a fake. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
You can do that? I didn't know what was happening. But it's a huge community. I've made so many friends in it, like gotten to know so many people. So I'm grateful for it. Definitely. I didn't realize that there was a community this big of people that love softball, male and female. It's like crazy.
It is crazy. I didn't like when I started playing in college, like slow pitch. You know, I played baseball growing up, and then I played at Plymouth State, and then when I got home, I was like, where can I keep playing this? And the first thing I found was the New Hampshire Sports and Social Club.
Yeah.
Now they're the My Social Sports. We did that. And that was fun, but then I found U-Trip, and like you said, the pump fake stuff. I remember the first time that happened, I was like, "That you can do that? Like, what is going on here?" But you're right, it is a crazy community. It seems to just
keep growing.
It's like, but then you hear like leagues dying, and then you hear because like Nashville right now, I think we talked about this on some show. That seems to be what I'm noticing. Slow pitch though, the next like group of players like. You know, in the early 20s.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of them. It's like rare. I mean, there's some, but not a lot.
Really?
You know?
Yeah, I haven't played too much up in this area. I am going to be playing the Women's Nashville League this coming summer, but yeah, I haven't really noticed that it's getting like less and less of that age group, to be honest.
Yeah, it's well, at least Nashville I can speak to.
Yeah.
That,
well, I mean, where I played in like the Lowell League and Drake-It, we don't even have it anymore. People were just like stacking teams, and I think other people were like, this isn't fun anymore. So it ended up being just travel players playing, and all the other people kind of faded out because they didn't want to. it wasn't fun just losing by so much. It was like home run derby for people half the time.
That does become a problem. That's why I resigned as the Sunday League president for now. Obviously, I got stuff going on in my own life. I couldn't do it. I think Greg Kelly's on to
The
something.
draft league.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'll be doing that too.
Yeah, and I want that to see that be successful, because if that can work, all these years of people saying like that could never work anywhere but Merrimack would be wrong.
We did it in Lowell in the fall.
Oh, okay.
Only 4 teams. It was pretty good for the most part, but one team like struggled to get people there sometimes. So, I mean, that kind of stunk in the playoff time because they couldn't field a team. But other than that, it was pretty even for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to get to a lot of the games with coaching once the spring and fall hit for that. So I'm always like hesitant to get into anything. I always have to be like, well, I can.
Here's the thing.
Maybe as long as we have a later game.
Yeah. No, absolutely get that.
Yeah.
And it isn't. Some people get too serious. And you're like, guys, at the end of the day, this is just it. I don't care what level of slow pitch softball it is.
Yeah.
It's rec. It's
Yeah.
a recreational activity.
Yep.
So, but what are some of like the favorite memories that you've had since you've been playing?
Slow pitch?
Yeah. Or even in your career before that.
In slow pitch, I mean, I just enjoy getting out there and like playing loosely for fun, and sometimes it gets a little too competitive. But I'm super competitive, so I think that's where it's hard for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a lot of fun like when I started playing with the Sandlot guys when we were the Sandlot. That was like the first team I played with, and I met a lot of great guys through them. I know you have like Lou on the show recently. That whole group of guys, that's just who I kind of stuck with through the years. We just have a great time together, so I feel like I don't care what level I play in. I just would rather go there and enjoy time with my friends, because for me, that's my time to like let loose and enjoy myself, where I don't have to be like on top of people and like what they have to do
Yeah.
and like stressing over what plays there are. So for me, that would be kind of just being around my friends for softball.
Yeah.
I like the tournaments that just aren't for like the serious ones. I like the just go out there make a team with your other friends and play with other people type of thing too. A little more relaxed.
Yeah.
But I do like going to like the Plex. Those are always fun tournaments out there. I've never done the Florida thing or anything like that. It's always when I'm coaching, so I haven't done that, but I would like to at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like playing with your friends, I do enjoy it. Like I just signed up because my Nashua team folded, and I signed up I'm joining like the Londonderry Co-ed League, and I'm just gonna be put on a random team. I said, all right, I'll meet some new people and see what that's like,
Yeah.
So, where do you see the game? Do you see the game continuing to grow? Like you just brought up Florida. That's now like the thing everybody wants to do.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you have never been to Florida. I mean, I've been one time.
I feel like I'm left out now that I
Yeah.
haven't done it.
It gets to now that's like what everybody wants to do. But do you see that just like it exploded? I think after 2016, at least in this area, because we had 2 teams go down and win, and then it became they won the co-ed and they won the men's, and it felt like everybody wanted to do it now.
Right.
Do you think that's going to keep trending that way? Or?
It seems like it will. It seems like I can't get over how dedicated a lot of people are to it, like with their constant batting practices and just practices in general. Like people are going out there on their own and just hitting off tees, and I mean, good for you if that's like something you want to be great at. All the power to you. Like I can't do that stuff, so for me, maybe I'm just jealous. I don't know. But I just can't get over how serious it's being taken sometimes, where I always looked at it as just like a casual recreational thing to do. You know what I mean? But everybody that's doing it, I feel like is really, we all like are the competitive people too at the same time. So I can see it both ways. I mean, my parents definitely don't understand it. They're like, I don't know why you keep playing this at your age. Like, you need to stop. What if you get hurt? And I'm like, because it's like my way of letting like loose and getting the stress off me, It's just something to be light around. I don't know.
No, I totally agree. That's a lot of like I over the years I don't enjoy not that I would go now, anybody that's watched the show, but like I don't enjoy going to bars. I don't go and enjoy. Never was a club person or anything like that. Like I like going to the softball field.
Yeah.
That's where I enjoy my social time away from work and everything else. So, you know, as long as people are enjoying themselves, that's all that matters.
Yep, totally.
We got a few fan questions for you. You kind of answered this, but what Rich Birkland, former guest of the show, wants to know, what made you want to get into coaching?
I grew up loving sports. Like I had 2 brothers. It was always a competition with us. And then a neighborhood on a dead end full of like 20 boys and like 3 girls. And we all just like went out pretending we were in Wimbledon, playing street hockey and naming our names of whatever athlete we wanted to be. It was always some kind of sport that we were doing something with. And then like as I got older and started focusing on sports specific things, we'd run clinics for the girls, and I love doing fundamentals. Fundamental coaching is like my favorite. That's my favorite part of coaching, is just the little things, you know, like breaking the bad habits of the girls, and they're not going to get this done unless they can do this first. So I love fundamentals of like the little nitty gritty things, and giving back to like where I learned to love it all, like in Billerica. That's the community that brought me all of the stuff I loved growing up. My travel basketball, so many great memories playing that. That was where I made some of the best friends. My high school softball and volleyball teammates are still my best friends to this day. So it's just always brought me some kind of community of friendship and people that I've learned to love, and like not learned to, fell in love with these people, you know? They're just great. We all have the same interests. The girls have the interests. So it's nice to be around people with the similar type of passion and love that you do, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. That's cool. You know, you give back to the community that was there for you.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's awesome. Lou Silvano wants to know, if another former guest, a 2-time guest, he got on 2 episodes pretty quick. What made you want to wear number 55?
He's my other 5s. So 55, when I was in 6th grade, I've been wearing it since 6th grade because they didn't have the number I wanted. And I was like, I might as well I'll just pick it because it's a double number. And I loved Nomah Garcia-Parra, who was number 5.
Yep.
There was no 5. So I was like, I'll take 55. And I ended up having a really successful year in basketball that year. I was like the MVP of the tournaments. And I don't know, it was just, I was like, all right, I guess I'll stick with this number. Nobody else ever picks it. And I just kind of made it mine. Started having it for every other sport. My coaches in high school were like, we're ordering new uniforms. Do you want us to get you a number 55? Because they don't typically, they go up to like 36 usually in high school. And I was like, yes, please. And no one ever picked it after me because I'd coached the girls with the same uniforms after I graduated. I'm like, no one wants my number. So yeah, it just kind of stuck. I don't know. I love that.
Yeah. No, that's an awesome story. And, you know, double Nomah there. I think if you've ever seen the show Eastbound and Down.
I haven't. I know what you're talking about.
Kenny Powers is number 55.
Yeah.
So, I know it's a little older. If you have HBO Max or anything like that, it's worth.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's a funny show. Patrick O'Connor wants to know which one of your teammates has the best dance moves.
That's because he wants me to say him, because him and I would stand next to each other. We always put on the big booty mix. So I would say him. He knows it. Yeah. He knows it. I always ask him, when am I going to play again with my favorite dance partner?
Okay.
So, and Amy Wenrick too. We get out there and we just dance away out to the field all the time. That's how we know we're in a good mood, playing and having a lot of fun. Get that big booty mix on, and that's all we got.
Nice. I do enjoy, like, I will say I like when there's music on the field.
Yeah, I do too.
Unless I'm losing. Then sometimes I'm like, it's happened where I'm like, or a big game.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that where like the music is blaring and you're just like, and I never try to be a dick or anything like that, but like there's been times where I'm like, all right, can we kill the music for like a little bit?
Yeah.
You know, but no, I love it.
I will say we use it with coaching and softball big time. We have the girls have walk-up songs.
Oh, really?
And when we leave every field, we play Another One Bites the Dust whenever we win.
Okay.
And people do not like that about us.
I could.
And we had a team do it back to us, and I was like, how do you guys all feel right now? This is what we do to other people, but they did not like it at all. But no, it gets us in a really good mood. If there's like a controversy on plays, they all start the music and they just dance while the coaches deal with the controversy to stay up. And I mean, it works for them. So
hey, whatever works, you know.
yeah.
I want to get into one of my favorite segments of the show, which is top fives. Who are your top five favorite musical artists?
Right now, Morgan Wallen's a big fave of mine.
Is that country?
He's like more new, I feel like, in the last couple of years, but he's probably one of my top ones right now. I do love Taylor Swift. Gotta love her.
Are you going?
No.
Were you able to? Okay.
I'm not paying that kind of money to go. I went to her last one, and it was great, but I was up. She looked like an ant from where I was, so couldn't really enjoy it that much. I love Justin Bieber music. Don't care what anyone says. Great. I love his music. He always gets me in a good mood. John Mayer.
Oh,
I just went to his acoustic concert. It was phenomenal. Eminem. Love Eminem.
Okay.
I'm a big Eminem girl since I was in like middle school.
Yeah, because he came out. I think we were around the same age, and I remember him coming out.
The real Slim Shady.
Yeah, like I remember that coming. You know, when
I think
TRL.
I was in middle. Yeah.
TRL was the big thing,
Yep.
and what I always remembered about that was like, if you remember, okay, so I've been watching MTV since I was in first grade. I don't know how this happened. I watched the original Real World.
Yes. Yeah.
I got a White Sox hat in first grade because Dr. Dre had a White Sox hat. I don't know how my parents, allowed this, but I remember like Eminem. I'm like, he'd been and when you're younger, like, I don't know,
Because he
might
was
have
like
been
from the 90s.
Yeah, he was from like the last time we really saw him was probably like 92, maybe 93.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, 5 years seems like a very, very long time ago.
Yeah.
And I remember him being back, being like, "Oh my, it's Dr. Dre,"
Yeah.
and then that was like the stamp of approval for Eminem.
Yeah.
Oh, he's with Dr. Dre, even though he's really only. We never got that third album, but
Right.
But yeah, I'm a big fan. Also, big fan of John Mayer. Room for Squares was one of my.
Oh yeah.
Neon.
Continuum I love too.
Oh, okay.
He did Neon at that concert.
Did he? I love that
it's
song.
really great. Yeah.
What about top 5 favorite movies?
Ooh, my favorite movie is Gladiator. Like hands down, my favorite movie. I can't turn it off if it's on, and I cry every single time at the end. Remember the Titans.
Yes, that's one of my
Great
favorites.
one. Let's see, this one's a tough one. Love and Basketball. I've loved that movie forever. Cinderella Man. I love Cinderella Man. And Dark Knight's definitely one of them too. Yeah, I like the Batman movies, like in that series.
That was probably the best.
But the Dark Knight I love just the opening. It like grabs you. It was a great movie.
That movie, like, so it's funny you bring that up because the other day, I don't know, I saw something about Heath Ledger. Anytime I hear Heath Ledger, like, I get a little sad.
Yeah, every single time.
It's
yeah,
like...
he made some really great movies growing up.
And looking back, I remember they casted him.
Yeah.
To play the Joker, and I go, okay, Heath Ledger from Crazy or
Or
Mad
10
About
Things
You,
I
10
Hate
Things
About
That-
You.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I was like, that's gonna work. And I remember seeing like the pictures of him before, and I'm like, okay, I might be wrong here.
Yeah.
And then he passes away before the movie, and then you see the character, and you go, anytime he's not on the screen, you're like, when's he coming back?
Yeah, I know. He's like so captivating in it. I feel like if they do that great of a job being someone like you don't like or hate, like Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator, you hate him so much, but I just think that shows how great of an actor that they really are when they can make you feel like that.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite movies as well.
Armageddon too. I got to sneak that one in there.
Okay.
I love Armageddon.
I like Armageddon. That's still one of my. What's the song from there? If it comes on, I don't turn it off.
I don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah, and all I can think about is not the movie, but the music video because it's Steven Tyler and Liv Tyler.
And she's just going, "Daddy, no."
Yeah. That's a great movie though. Top 5 softball teams you've played on.
Ooh, my high school softball team I loved playing on. Like I said, it was with all my like closest friends. We had a blast. So that would probably be my number one. And then I loved playing with the Sandlocks. That was just like a team that I grew to like. They're still like my close-knit softball family now, So I had a lot of fun with them. I haven't played on mostly like tournament teams otherwise. I don't really have like, they're always just like jumping in and filling in.
Yeah.
So I played in the North End, and that team was a lot of fun with the women I played in there. And we had the fours represented us when that was a place, and that was a good group of women. The whole league, it was great, and we'd play Charlestown. Sometimes their league would come over and play us, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know. That's probably about like the fun teams that like that's.
It doesn't have to be 5. Yeah.
No, I know. It's just the ones that like really stick out that I like spent more time with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Now you said you're playing Nashville. Are you playing for Jen? Or are you playing for who else has a team in that league? I thought does Brandy have a team?
I'm playing with Brandy's team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm always confused. Because I will like sometimes I'll know there's games on. I'll be like, oh, they're down there. I'm gonna go watch for a little bit. And one year Brandy had a team against Jen. The next year I went, Brandy and Jen were on the same team.
So
I don't know
last year I didn't commit to any team last year because I coach, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna want to do that, like, and drive back and forth. I'm playing in another league too, so I don't want to. It's just like a lot, and then to drive here, and so I ended up eventually like filling in and then kind of sticking there in Jen's team for a while. Brandy was on that team, and we did well on that. But then this year, Brandy and Heidi wanted to branch out and kind of make their own team. And I mean, I'm with Brandy all the time. She's one of my closest friends. Heidi is a good friend of mine, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll play with you guys. And I guess they've just kind of formed this other team in the league, and
they need more teams there.
Yeah,
So
and there's a lot of great girls that I know I know a lot of the girls on the team, so I'm looking forward to playing with them. It's like gonna be a fun crew. Not that it wasn't with Jen's team or anything like that. I'm just like really close with some of the girls on this team, so figured I might as well start committing to something again.
I will say sometimes I have them play on the top field at Greeley, and if you're on the first base line, like when you're on, you can't see anything.
I don't know if I know where Greeley is.
If you don't know Nashville, it might be tough. Well, say you're downtown Nashville, right?
Yeah.
And if you just keep driving towards Merrimack, you're going to pass Greeley
Oh,
Park.
okay.
So, and I've seen a few games. I actually did like commentary. One time Brandy asked me to come down. She goes, can you go live? We're playing Jen in the championship. And sometimes I'll do, like, J-Ro do that.
Yep.
There's been times where I'll do it.
I've seen that, yeah.
I will do a very family-friendly version of that, like Let Freedom Ring is.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was really fun. I hope I can do some more of that this summer. Top 5 women's players that you know, and you, because I think you could do college, you could do slow pitch, you could do whatever.
I'd probably go more college route with this one, just because I don't want to leave anyone out that I'm not thinking of, or that I don't know. I love Maya Brady from UCLA, Tom Brady's niece. She is a phenomenal
I did not know
player.
this. Okay.
Yeah, she's their left fielder. I'm pretty sure she might be center field this year. Great hitter. Yeah, she's a sophomore this year at UCLA, but last year she had like this breakout rookie season. Tom Brady like retweets all of her stuff. She retweets all of his.
Okay.
Yeah, she's so good too. She's fun to watch. I love watching her. Sis Bates, but she graduated already. She was a great shortstop in Washington. Obviously, Jenny Finch, she like kind of paved the way for all women.
Is she like the
softball.
GOAT, would you say?
I don't really know, because like back then it was like nobody really watched it. I just feel like we're supposed to like her.
Yeah.
She kind of paved the way for women. So in that sport, like made it more well known, I guess. There's this girl, AJ Andrews, that I've seen and gone to clinics for. She played for like a purple and gold team. I forget the name of them, to be honest. But I've watched a lot of her highlights, and I follow a lot of her stuff on Instagram, and she's great to watch. She does a lot of like cool stuff at the softball conventions that I go to, so I really like watching her too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you get to watch a lot on like there's so many streaming services now, right?
I bought ESPN Plus so I can watch the college softball.
Okay.
There's a lot on there. And it's like Wednesday, Thursday through Sunday usually.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. Like I love I started wrestling when I was in like 3rd grade, and that was like my first. Then baseball, my first love of sports. but you could never watch NCAA wrestling unless
Right.
it was the championship.
Yeah.
Me and my brother were watching. I'm like, dude. He's like, dude, they're on Hulu. Like, we can watch like
Oh, really?
all the tournaments leading into it, and they have like dual meets. And I was like, where has this been?
Yeah.
This is like, you know.
I'm still learning all the streaming stuff. Like, I finally didn't get cable when I moved recently, and I'm like, I'm just going to use my apps and see where it goes. It's still driving me a little crazy to not have cable, but I'm trying to still figure it out. But I did get ESPN Plus so I can watch, like, the different games. Like, I'm excited to watch the Masters this weekend and all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, you get all the different options on there. Men's, women's, different sports that you don't even think of sometimes.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's a lot of streaming.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I have the Rugby Network. That's amazing because I can always watch the Free Jacks or whatever the teams. But like, the thing about streaming, it's weird because, okay, so you're flipping the channels, right? I think I sometimes have a hard time deciding what to watch when I'm going to Netflix or I'm going to Hulu or whatever because I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I kind of just want to be told what to watch at some point.
There's so many options, and you're like, oh. And then I'm like, oh, should I just make a post or something and ask people if they know of anything? I feel like I've watched everything.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, I got to find something. I go back and watch like old stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But I want to go into another good segment here. Buy or sell. I'm going to give you something, a word, anything really. You're going to tell me, are you buying, are you selling, and why? Draft softball leagues.
Buying. I think it will even things out a little bit more. It will just be less of people getting pummeled if they just want to stack a team. I just think it will just be a little more fair of competition.
Yeah, I mean, you got to spread it out. A
Yeah.
lot of people are at different levels.
Yeah.
Women's NCAA basketball.
Bye.
Okay.
I don't know. I like watching, but basketball I like watching men's a little bit more.
Okay.
But still, I wouldn't take it away from the women's.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome.
I still watched the women's March Madness and everything, so I just found myself gravitating more towards the men's.
Okay. So are people betting on the women's one too? Because the betting stuff is getting like really huge.
I'm still trying to learn that stuff.
Yeah.
The plus and the minus. I think I was doing opposite of what it actually is. Someone told me recently, so I'm like, I'm going to take a break from that now.
What about, have you seen any of the XFL on TV?
What's that?
Oh wow. Okay. So, you've heard of The Rock.
Oh, I just saw a commercial for this recently, I think.
So basically, XFL is like it's like, I guess, off-season minor league football. They're trying to get in.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah. So you've never seen.
I just saw like a highlight of it, but not like the explanation of any. I didn't know if it was fake or real.
Very real. Well, they do have some different rules that are really cool.
Yeah.
Like if you're going for a game winner and instead of going for an onside kick, you can take the ball at like your, I don't know, maybe it's at the 5, and if you get a 15-yard conversion, you get to keep the ball.
Okay.
So there's like a lot of cool stuff. Definitely, I mean, check it out. I mean, the ratings are doing okay. This is like the third. It was really doing well in 2020, and then the pandemic.
Yeah.
Former guest of the show, he had a question. Lou Silvano. Buy or sell?
Oh, buy. I'll buy Lou all day. He's my fives. We have our own handshake and everything.
Oh, wow. Okay. We'll have to see that sometime. I got to ask this. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you are a fan, but I'd like to know the why. Mac Jones.
I am a fan, yeah. I feel like this year he didn't get a fair shot with the way they had for his coaching and everything. I just feel like we drafted him we picked him up for a reason, you know? And he just didn't have the right coaching around him to be who he really is. I don't know.
So you're buying?
I'd buy him.
Okay. I'm still on the Mac train.
Yeah.
That's going to lead me to my next question. And I'm not asking you this question in past things he's done. I'm asking you right now. Buy or sell Bill Belichick?
That's a tough one.
We asked the tough questions here.
I would buy him for one more year and see what he can do if he has the right coaching staff around him. I feel like they didn't place certain people in the right spots last year. So, I mean, the defensive coach was an offensive coach. They had the special teams guy as the quarterback coach. Like, I just feel like that stuff, I don't know, put the people in the right places and then see what you can do.
I agree. And this show has been a big defender of Bill Belichick for its whole existence.
Yeah.
I've said off air, similar to what you just said, I believed when Matt Patricia, I was like, I can't, why has he got this job?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, and I said to everybody else, this tells you how either blind loyalty that we have for the Patriots. I said, Belichick has a plan.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. There was no plan. There was no plan. Hip-hop music today.
Probably sell.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the hip hop these days. I like it back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s.
Early
even.
2000s
Yeah.
still good. I think Ja Rule is better than most of the
Yes,
rappers today.
love Ja Rule.
Thank you. I am a huge, I don't understand
Love
why.
Ja.
To this day, I'll never understand. Just because 50 Cent came around,
Yeah.
everybody had to get off the Ja Rule train. I was going to die. That was the hill I was going to die on. Ja Rule was great. I guess one other thing, buy or sell youth sports as a coach.
So, rec sports, I mean, for profit, are we talking?
I'm just talking getting kids involved.
I mean, I would love that. I would
Yeah.
buy that all day. I feel like more kids should, but less and less kids are interested in doing it. Maybe it's too expensive for parents to pay for now. I don't know. Prices have gone way up. I didn't have to pay to play in high school, and now it's $150 or $200 a season to play.
Yeah, I can't imagine
And like, it's just, I don't know. Families have multiple kids in the system. They're ending up paying like $800 for 2 kids to play more than one sport. I just think even AAU and all that, I have kids that pay $5,000 to play on a volleyball team for the year. And it doesn't even cover all their tournaments. So, I don't know. I think youth in general need more of that recreational.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that they're jacking up the prices too much for people too.
And maybe that's another problem because I mean, youth sports feel like they are shrinking.
They are shrinking. Our youth softball in my town, we used to have 4 different age groups, and there was at least like 6 to 8 teams in each age group. Now we can only field 2 teams per grade or something like that, or per like middle school, and then 15 and under, or whatever it is. And they have to play other towns now. There's no like just in town. They have to travel to play.
I mean,
it's really sad.
In my hometown, Nashville, there used to be all these baseball leagues. Now there's only one.
It's really sad.
But Katie, this has been a blast.
Yeah,
Pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on. Everybody out there, have a great week. Keep your heads up, and until next time, let freedom ring.